Welcome to a special edition of our Clean Commercial Transportation Update. On this episode of CCTU, we're taking a deeper look at two exciting stories we did not want you to miss from the Advanced Clean Transportation Expo. We got a great chance to talk with the WattEV CEO about their big announcement that they plan to build charging plazas for heavy-duty zero-emission trucks at the Port of Long Beach.
This is a 1.2 acre site located right inside the port location that'll allow us to install over 30 plus chargers and 8 MCS chargers in the future, which would allow us to charge the Volvo that you have behind us, as well as many of the other electric trucks that are coming out in the days to come. On the first phase of this site, this will be operational by the end of this year with 20 plus charging cords rated at 150 kilowatts. So each of those dispensers are going to be 360 kilowatt dispensers. And that'll allow for charging over CCS for the electric trucks. And then as MCS becomes available, it'll allow us to do rapid charging. Obviously, this is going to be one of many sites. I can't be happier to thank Port of Long Beach, particularly Mario, for leading this effort and really helping this site happen, as well as the folks at Southern California Edison. This site will be powered predominantly through Southern California Edison's utility, so we're very grateful that they're able to give us the power that we need for this site and help us towards the expansion for the full phase of this site. WattEV's vision is to go well beyond the port locations. This is one of many on our plans to electrify the entire corridor going from Southern California to Northern California, and this is going to be the starting point of that location. So we're very happy to announce that, and we've got many other sites in the pipeline to come, so I'm looking forward to sharing those as we get more solidified on those sites.
Years past, we've talked about reducing emissions. Today, we're talking about eliminating emissions, at least as it relates to truck transportation. So it's a great honor to be here and share this event with WattEV. And the proposal here that's before us is the beginning of what this future is. And as you may know, the Port of Long Beach partnered with the Port of Los Angeles in 2017 to update the Clean Air Action Plan. And that plan, I believe, is the most aggressive Clean Air Action Plan in terms of, again, it's not about reducing emissions, it's about eliminating emissions. The most aggressive plan, perhaps in the country and even in the world. And what we have here today, as Salim referenced, is the beginning of the infrastructure, stealing from, obviously, the cliche from the field of dreams, build it and they will come. Putting in this infrastructure and the zero-emission trucks will come.
This is exciting news for our carriers because we need infrastructure in Southern California to advance those zero-emission trucks along our transportation corridors.
Can you tell us more about this project at the Port of Long Beach and how many vehicles you're going to be able to serve and what does this really bring?
Sure, happy to be here. So Port of Long Beach is our latest site that we announced this morning. It's in collaboration with the Port of Long Beach and getting power from Southern California Edison. This is about a 1.2 acre site that's located right within the Port of Long Beach, and it'll be very instrumental to really building out the infrastructure for WattEV. This is the first in one of our nodes that's going all the way up to Sacramento, so we'll be able to create a full zero emissions corridor. The site in particular is going to be built in phases. The first phase will be operational by the end of this year, actually. And we'll have 12 chargers, 12 CCS chargers rated at 360 kilowatts, each having 2 cords, so you'll be able to charge two vehicles per dispenser. This will allow us to charge our own fleet of 50 trucks that we've ordered from Volvo and getting a delivery at the end of this year. So we'll be able to operate through our Port of Long Beach location, as well as the other 2 sites that are in development right now in Bakersfield and San Bernardino. And using those 3 sites, we can actually show that operating zero emissions electric trucks is both viable and affordable and accessible to a lot of the owner-operators and carriers that are looking to get into this industry.
This is so exciting. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. So tell us the vision of this project. How did it come together? Who are the partners, and how is it funded, or how is it being funded?
Of course, yeah. So when you look at the California marketplace, you really see that it's not a matter of if, but when the transition to zero emission will happen. But obviously you can't have one without the other. Both the infrastructure and the trucks have to be there. At WattEV, we first started looking at the infrastructure, wanting to be a dominant player in actually building out publicly available truck charging stations for electric trucks. But what we quickly realized was that it wasn't enough to just build the trucks or build the stations and expect that demand to pick up naturally. And that's when we started looking at the electric trucks that exist today and how we can have a truck as a service concept to really bridge the gap of what exists on the market, what owner-operators are expecting, what carriers are expecting, and how we can make it more affordable and accessible. All of our stations have been awarded some sort of grant funding, whether it's state funding, federal funding, and we've been very fortunate and very successful at getting those grants. We also have private funding as well as some institutional that are strategic partners to us.
You know what's so exciting about this, and we want to talk later about that truck transport as a service model, because that's so powerful. But just in terms of building out the capability in Southern California, how many trucks will this network start to be able to support? Because what you're starting to build is multiple fast charge hubs.
So our Long Beach site at full scale will be able to charge well over 60 trucks per day. All of our sites are built with the future in mind, so they'll have both CCS chargers and MCS. So MCS is a new technology that's being worked on with efforts with Charin that allows you to go from a 2 to 3 hour charge time in most of these vehicles down to about a 30 to 45 minute charge time.
So how can this be a template for replication? What are your plans? Now you're focusing on Southern California. It looks like you're building up a corridor up to Sacramento. How can we replicate this?
Sure, so obviously our vision is to go nationwide, and we've already started evaluating properties that are going eastbound towards Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, as well as on the East Coast. But really we're starting with California because of the incentives that are available to us. And once we are able to demonstrate that in California using the 3 sites and the trucks that we have, it's very easy to actually replicate that in other areas.
So you're building the network. Let's circle back to that transportation as a service model. How can that actually help us move to scale on the finance side and the business case side?
So it's no surprise that the electric trucks are expensive, oftentimes being almost 3 to 4 times that of a new diesel truck. Then you couple that with unknown range, insurance, and where most of these users are going to charge, and there's plenty of reasons why these owner-operators aren't rushing to the dealers to buy the trucks. We saw that as an opportunity and really a problem to solve on how we can bridge the gap and make it more affordable and accessible. We also understood that it's not really acceptable for a driver to sit there and wait 2 to 3 hours for an electric truck to charge. So we saw this as an opportunity of how can we make it more efficient and make it more viable so that we can bring the cost of these trucks down to something that's at par with diesel and allow them to operate. So the way that it works is that at all of our depots, we have trucks available, and an owner-operator or carrier can be able to book that truck and sort of operate on a Pony Express model. So in a traditional lease model, that asset is tied to the user, whereas in ours, you really have now a shared pool of assets that are distributed at all of our locations, so that at any given time, we have charged trucks ready to go. So for instance, someone is booking a truck from our Long Beach site and driving it up to Bakersfield, at that point the truck will be nearly out of charge. Rather than waiting the 2 to 3 hours to have that truck charged, they can now pick up a fully charged truck from our Bakersfield location and then do another route on the way back. So this allows them to now have no range anxiety really or any doubt on where they're going to charge or where they're going to be able to service those routes. And it makes it, since we're able to have this shared pool of assets, we can figure out how to maximize the utilization of those assets.
So this is really important, and I really appreciate this model that you've created to really help enable independent owner-operators. This is not an easy feat to make this transition. What do you think it's going to take to really help them move into this market of these new technologies, and certainly providing the service to make it easier and user-friendly is going to be really important?
Of course, yeah. So we have a strong team that is on the operations side as well as on the sales side, and it's really about understanding what the customer wants. A lot of the shippers, they have sustainability goals that they want to meet. But they don't necessarily want to put in the capex themselves to put charging equipment or buy trucks at their facilities. So our pitch to the shippers is to go to them and pitch them on how they can meet their sustainability goals without any upfront costs. At that point, we're able to really take some of their routes and put it on our own platform, and then have those routes be, or those loads be facilitated using zero-emission trucks. And then to the owner-operators and carriers, we make the electric trucks more affordable and accessible to them, and allow them to drive them now rather than putting in the capex themselves to purchase those trucks.
So you're building out this first model. You've got 3. It looks like we could have a corridor maybe up to Sacramento here soon.
Yep.
With the federal dollars that are coming out, what are we looking at for the build out of some longer distance corridors outside the state of California too?
Sure, so our model is to really start with the states that have these incentives, so whether it's LCFS credits or HVIP on the trucks, and that really allows us to bridge the gap on what the difference is between driving a diesel truck or a CNG truck versus driving an electric truck. But our strategy is that as the trucks become more affordable and accessible, we're able to roll it out much faster. And that includes actually the adoption of MCS chargers. So again, when you have more trucks with higher charging rates, you can go beyond the short haul or the middle mile freight, and you can go towards more long haul freight.
So this is great. So tell us, how are you raising awareness about these projects? How are you going to bring the attention to these independent owner-operators that you're seeking to bring in? What is it taking to create certainly awareness and a partnership like that?
Thanks. So there's really, we have a strong sales team that's helping facilitate that, as well as many partners that are helping. So for instance, at Bakersfield, we've partnered with CCAC, the Asthma Collaboration, and they're a very big advocate for what we're doing and pitching and how what WattEV's solution is doing is helping solve a lot of the pollutions in what's known as what has the most emissions in the San Joaquin Valley. Long Beach, we've been communicating with the port officials and many of the transporters in this area. We've actually moved headquarters from El Segundo to Long Beach to be right at the doorstep of our facility, and we've grown our team tremendously. So with the team that we have, we're able to really make the outreach known.
That's great.
Hey, one last question for you. We've seen the reports from IPCC. The need to move faster on climate has never been more imperative. Do you think transportation as a service and what you're testing out here will allow us to move as fast as we need to?
Absolutely. It'll help us actually move faster, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at many of the early adopters of electric trucks, they were all doing return to base operations. But what WattEV is working on to really build out that network allows us to go well beyond only the select users that can afford those trucks now, and to make it more accessible to everyone.
Well, we are so thankful of what you're doing and the leadership in advancing these technologies and meeting with us today and sharing these great projects that you're moving forward. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure meeting with you today.
Thank you. It's great talking to you guys as well.
We're delighted to be joined at ACT Expo by David Thackeray, who is the marketing director at Teva, and they are bringing a vehicle from the UK to North America. First of all, it's just great to see you since the last time we saw.
You too, Bill. It's been a long while.
So tell us, you're bringing this from the UK, where you've been able to bring the vehicle out, and you're bringing it to North America. What are your plans right now that you can tell us about?
So we're launching this vehicle here, essentially as a technology demonstrator. This one is the one that's going to go into production in the UK with full European whole vehicle type approval from July. The technical underpinnings of this vehicle will carry through into the federal type approved vehicle that will be coming to the States, we think, in 2024.
That's great. So this technology now provides the opportunity to extend the range. Tell us about this new battery technology that you're introducing.
So we use lithium iron phosphate batteries, so cobalt free, but we've always known that any battery vehicle has a variable range from summer to winter and so forth, and what a fleet operator needs is to ensure that on the worst day it will do all the work that's required. So we then supplement the battery with the fuel cell range extender. That gives us, in this case, something in the order of 300 kilowatt hours of energy on board the vehicle. That enables you to drive long distances every single day without any range anxiety.
Now, I don't want to pin you down, but you're looking at multiple sites in North America. When are you going to make a decision about where your first one is?
Our first one, and it'll be, we think, the first of two. We expect to have a site East Coast and West Coast, but the first one we expect to announce by mid-year.
That's great. And so I imagine you have some customers abroad that maybe will be supporting your fleet rollout here in the U.S.?
Yeah, for sure. And we've been targeting some of the world's largest fleets for several years now. And whilst there are many names I'm not at liberty to mention, you can imagine a number of fleets that are large in Europe but are larger still in the US.
We can imagine many things, David, and it's been great to see you again. Thank
Really
you.
good to see you, Bill.
Thank you so much. Great
Alicia,
seeing you.
Pleasure.
Bill, it's been so exciting being here and seeing all these vehicles on display. But what's also really promising is the charging technology,
Yeah.
the fueling options that are available. We saw more than 20 vendors out on the floor, but what was really great is the opportunity that we had to speak with the CEO of WattEV about the
Great.
charging technology solution that they're providing and starting to build out corridors for battery electric trucks, which I think is going to be super important. So really loved hearing about that project and where it's going to go in California.
It is the next step. The vehicles can do it now. With the infrastructure, we can start to lead out into these longer range roles that include extended drayage trips, but also trips from ports to inland distribution centers, freight hub to freight hub, and city to city. We're essentially seeing the launch of long-haul zero-emission trucking. But that's it for now. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of CCTU.
Stay connected by following us on social media for updates on our next episode and register for our live broadcasts on our website. And we will CCTU soon.